Hello, and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to go over the LPL and LCK games that occurred earlier today. Hell, 20 hours ago. It's closer to these games than those, regardless. Going to go over them and then preview Saturday's schedule across all four major regions. Predictions, I went 2 and 3 on the day as the LPL teams kind of figure out just how inconsistent they're going to be. First, we had Anyone's Legend and Team World Elite. Actually, what am I doing? I LCK first. So T1 KT. T1 win 2-1. Faker MVP 14-2-21, 31% of damage. Guma 14-3-17 at 80 carry. Deft 12-6-9, 29% of damage in the loss. Faker was my MVP because of his game 3 performance. I think you could argue Zeus had the MVP locked up prior to that. So, quickly to go over these games a little quicker than I've done the last couple days. KT did open up a good lead in game 1. Pyosik was more active than owner. Zeus had a couple solo kills onto Perfect. Zeus on a Rumble. Deft on the Callista looked strong, as well as Beryl on Alistar. Beryl was MVP in game 1 for KT. His engages were disgusting. I have not, honestly, I don't remember such a good Alistar performance. It was truly outstanding. Keria on the Nautilus did have some nice hooks, but in the end, it was Beryl's Alistar that made the difference. And in laning phase, they had a 37 CS lead. Deft and Beryl, Zeus 40 in top lane. Game 2, T1 dominated. Pyosik only got really 2 plays off. KT in general only got 2 plays off. Owner all over the place. Keria on the TK along with Guma, separating themselves from Deft and Beryl, getting ahead without a lot of intervention, to be honest, getting up 19 CS. Zeus was ahead 19 as well. Looking over my notes here, Owner had a solo kill onto Pyosik. Owner on the Poppy. Zeus on a K'Sante would get 2 solo kills in this game. Guma on the Jinx went off in team fights. And then BDD on the Akali was all that KT really had going. Was able to keep them in the game when all seemed lost. Was able to go even with Faker in the laning phase, despite T1 being up 3.5k gold. Game 3, T1 went up 3.5k gold. Zeus 15 CS ahead. That was the biggest diffy. It was a lot closer in CS, although T1 had this gold lead. Pyosik not getting much done once more, though. Clearly, mid lane was a priority. T1 took 5 trips there. Actually, 4 trips, sorry, and then 3 trips bot. Owner on the Rel, extremely active, getting Faker in a good position on the Orianna, and he just dominated team fights. His shockwaves were clutch right after he got ulti, affecting the 2v2. And really, it was the 2v2 that won them the game because Xin Zhao for Pyosik actually got ahead of Owner. He got a solo kill on him, returning the favor from game 2. But it was Faker Zori that really was the killer. FearX and DRX. FearX moved to 2-2 as they 2-1 DRX, who are winless. Closer was my MVP. Henna 16-2-19, 31% of damage. Willer 8-6-31 in the jungle. Saytab 10-11-16, 31% of damage in the loss. His game 2 on LeBlanc was strong, but we'll get into that. So very slow game 1 and game 2. First turret fell at 18 minutes in both. FearX did have a significant lead in game 1 by that point, about 3.5k gold, and we're ahead in all 4 areas. Most importantly in mid lane, closer on the Akali, gapping Saytab in that moment, getting 2 solo kills in this game. I had 39 CS. Akali into Azir is not supposed to have that big of a gold lead. Execute, formerly known as Zhang played Rakan in all 3 games. And honestly, his aggression, we know Zhang from his LEC days. His aggression was clear, concise, and all over the damn place. I know that those words don't come together the way you'd think, but if you watch it, you'd be like, oh, well, this is chaos. And truly, personally, part of me wanted to make him MVP because of that chaos, and he had some nice engages, and then some engages that absolutely sucked. But game 1, closer clearly taking over on the Akali. Game 2, though, Saytab on the LeBlanc would return the favor, going up 31 CS in the first 18 minutes. DRX have a 1.5, about 2k gold lead, actually. Bot lane had 14. Clearly, FearX trying to get grubs where DRX took 3 Drakes. And once you get into a situation where you have sole point, it is extremely hard to come back. Teddy on the Jinx went off in key team fights. Henna Zaya was able to keep FearX in this game after what seemed to be a lost game, given the way that they gave away sole point. Willer on the Rel hit some nice engages, but in the end, Satab was too strong and won them the game. Game 3, everything ends up yin and yang, right? It's even now at the end of 15 minutes. Clear was ahead 23 CS over Rascal. I think you can make a case for him being an MVP candidate. He solo killed Rascal in what I would consider to be one of Rascal's worst games. It honestly had me thinking, like, okay, this guy is washed now. So that happened. We had closer on a Yasuo, which was disgusting. In mid to late game team fights, add the Rakan for the knockups, and now Yasuo has multiple areas to go with. I don't remember if the Kesante vibes with the Yasuo, but regardless, they had a Gragas jungle, right? So the old C9 special, Gragas Yasuo, and it came through in team fights. Teddy on the Varus had a solo kill onto Willer at one point. He did get some gold and gave DRX a chance, but Closer and Willer were just too strong. Execute on the Rakan again. Nice engages. LPL, Anyone's Legend, and Team Wii. Team Wii would win 2-0. Prince ends up being MVP. Pentakill on Misfortune in Game 1. Fofo, 3-1-12, 30% of damage. Prince, 13-0-5. Hope, 5-3-3, 31% of damage in the loss. Clearly, Game 1, Anyone's Legend wanted to get Shanks ahead. They went mid lane 3 times. Team Wii would respond by going mid lane twice. Very active by both sides. But in the end, Prince was just not dying on the Misfortune, clearly, and was able to secure a penta as they were already taking the base. Wayward on Kesante had a couple solo kills in this one. Iwandi's Bard, this is the first game I watched, and now it's coming back to me. His Bard engages and ultis were really good in this series. I thought that he really played one of the better Bard games when it comes to specifically ultis in quite a while. Shanks on the Orianna kept the game close at times, which helped because, hell, I mean, that's all Anyone's Legend did looking at this, right? They went mid 3 times. You'd hope your Orianna could do something. In terms of CS diff, Wayward was ahead 25 in Game 1. Game 2, 14-30 was the end of laning phase. Anyone's Legend actually ahead slightly. But we have to keep in mind Team Wii were more active. So Anyone's Legend really didn't get any plays off. And Hang on the Mundo jungle, which is the first we've seen this year in the 4 major regions, was a menace towards Krakow, keeping Krakow behind and really, really struggling to keep up. Shanks on the DiStefano was able to secure some kills early on, which got them this gold lead, but Wayward on the Kesante made a difference in team fights, as did Azir for Fofo, and Prince let it rain after that and ended up, closing out this game. It was a low kill game, if I recall, 8-6 maybe was the total, so not a lot of action. And that's in part also why Prince ends up getting MVP. OMG FPX win 2-0. Duckdom gets MVP. Care 4-3-10, 31% of damage. Life 0-1-19 at support. Angel 2-2-8, 29% of damage in the loss. So Game 1, OMG had a slight gold lead at the end of laning phase, only 500 gold. 21 CS lead in bot lane, however. OMG had went twice to bot lane. I thought Zhao Feng played very well in this series. In terms of getting ahead of Milky Way's Maokai, it was a Xin Zhao versus Maokai both times. I thought that both rookies looked pretty damn good, given the circumstances of them playing against each other. I wouldn't blame them for the losses. Even Starry struggled in Game 2, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Xiaolahu Nar solo killed Cube, and then Care on the Azir coming through in team fights, bringing down damage. Shuffles on point, doing what he had to do. Game 2, 14:30, laning phase ends, game is tied, which is kind of crazy because FPX, Duck Dom, and Life opened up a massive lead in the bot lane that only ended up being 16 CS by the end of it because OMG were able to respond. Team We respond. FPX responded by going bot lane. Milky Way trying to help them out and bailed them out, which caused OMG to... Jesus Christ, a lot of games trying to pound out, just talking real fast. So, to recap that for a second, FPX is ahead by a lot on OMG's bot lane. So, Zhao Feng says to himself, I have to go down bot and try and make something happen. And he did, to allow OMG to get some gold back. Squared that one away. Life on the Lulu was very aggressive, along with Duck Dom on the Zeri. The reason why Zeri Lulu was the bot lane was because OMG gave 580 carry bans in Game 2, apparently. I don't usually watch draft, but that's what they said in the broadcast. So if that's truly the case, talk about a true MVP performance to not only eat 5 bans, but then also gap your opponent. Jalahu on the Kesante, strong. Milky Way on the Maokai, strong as well. BLG Energy. BLG win 2-0. Elk was MVP. 9-1-14, 33% of damage. On 3-1-23. So the bot lane 12-2-37. That's dominance. LWX 1-7-6, 28% of damage in the loss. Game 1, Lucian and Elk on a Lucian open up a big lead. They end up 39 CS by the end of laning phase at around 15 minutes. They were ahead already, setting up for a dive. Knight goes on a roam on the Nico. Shun ends up affecting things as well on the Kindred. He's all over the place. Breathe does get a solo kill on the Rumble in both games, which is something that I thought was pretty nice for RNG. He was really the only bright spot they had. Game 2, he had a 22 CS lead over Bin. Bin actually not doing a lot in this one. I think it's a lot to do with just champs, but in general, gold lead was tied at the end of laning phase 13:30, in part because Wei was on brand, which is usually not his style, but nevertheless, he was on it. Knight on the Akali was nasty in team fights. I didn't end up writing Elk Senna down. He did bring damage to the table, but it seemed like Knight was the one doing a lot of the work. A lot of really nice plays on the champion. Obviously a great player that is doing work on a champion that actually allows you to do that. I thought Tangwan in this series did not play poorly. If anything, RNG's bot lane struggled in this one big time. LWX said 7 times. I thought that they really left a lot to be desired. That bot lane should have performed much better. Not to say it's better than BLG's because it's not, but that was not the area where I expected RNG to be exposed. I thought it would end up being mid lane, and it wasn't. Tangwan actually has played quite well for his first 2 series this year. Sneak peek for tomorrow. So, LCK, Gen.G D+, Gen.G 3-0, coming off of a win against Brion. D+ 2-1, coming off a win against Nongshim. Last time they played, Gen.G won 2-0. 4 of the 10 players from that series remain on the same team. Chovy, 15-4-19, 30% of damage in the win. Showmaker, 6-8-17, 29% of damage in the loss. After that, we have Nongshim KDF. Nongshim 1-2, coming off of the loss to D+. KDF 1-2, coming off of a win against KT. Notes, Nongshim 1-2-1 last time they played. 7 of the 10 starters remain. Din Peter, 6-12-46, 30% of damage in the win. Dudu and Andal, 8-15-29, 37% of damage in the loss. Remember, Bull is probably playing for the Freaks. Nip and IG, Nip 1-0, coming off of a win against LGD. IG 1-0, coming off of a win against Ultra Prime. Last time they played, Nip 1-2-0. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Shu, 1-2-25, 6% of damage at support. Wink, 1-9-8, and 9% of damage in the loss. Ultra Prime LGD, like I just said, Ultra Prime lost to IG, LGD lost to Nip. Last time they played, up 1-2-1. 4 of the 10 starters are the same. Doggo, the only one remaining from the winning side, going 18-11, 17, 27% of damage into loss. Top Esports EDG. Top Esports 0-1, coming off of loss to BLG. EDG 0-1, coming off of a loss to RNG. Last time they played was in LPL playoffs. Top Esports won 3-2. 4 of the 10 starters are the same. TN 15-11, 38, 13% of damage in the win. JJ 11, 14, 34, 22% of damage in the loss. I expect JJ to have to do a similar performance with the 2 rookies on his team. LEC. BDS Team Heretics. BDS 5-1, coming off of a win against SK. Heretics 4-2, coming off of a win against Carmine Corp. Last time they played, Heretics won 2-0 in summer. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Yanko 6-4, 14, 10% of damage in the win. Sheo 3-4, 11, 19% of damage in the loss. SK Vitality. SK 4-2, coming off of a loss to BDS. Vitality 3-3, coming off of a win against G2. Last time they played was the only win that Vitality would have in summer split last year. 4 of the 10 starters are the same. Photon went 4-1-6, 24% of damage in the win. Like I said, it was the only win he had in summer. Irrelevant 1-1-6, 28% of damage in the loss. Mad Lions Koi Fnatic. Mad Lions 3-3, coming off of a win against Rogue. Fnatic 4-2, coming off of a win against Giant X. They've never played. When Razork and Elyoya last crossed paths, Razork would win 3-2. 19-15, 59, 24% of damage in the win. Elyoya 12-15, 42, 16% of damage in the loss. G2 Giant X. G2 4-2, coming off of a loss to Vitality. Giant X 2-4, coming off of a loss to Fnatic. They've never played against each other. Broken Blade, Yike, and Hansama in the last series of G2 versus XL would go 57, 8, and 92 for 62% of damage. Odoamne, Peach, and Patrick went 10, 45, and 20 for 67% of damage in the loss. So that was a 3-0 stomp. Carmine Corp and Rogue. KC 0-6, coming off of loss to Heretics. Rogue 1-5, coming off of loss to Mad Lions. They've never played. Last time Upset and Comp played, Comp would win 3-0-1, 28% of damage. Upset 0-1-2, 24% of damage in a loss. LCS, Dignitas C9, Dignitas 1-1, coming off of a loss to NRG. C9 2-0, coming off of a win against 100 Thieves. Last time they played, C9 would win. Half of the 10 starters remain. Fudge Berserker went 3-6 and 16 with 38% of damage in a win. Weird KDA for a victory. Rich and Tomo 5-5 and 7, 52% of damage in a loss. NRG 100 Thieves, NRG 1-1, coming off of a win against Dignitas. 100 Thieves 1-1, coming off of a loss to C9. Last time they played, 100 Thieves would win in the best of 1. Half of the 10 starters are the same. Quid would go 2-2-10, 34% of damage in a win. Palefox 1-5-2, 21% of damage in a defeat. Team Liquid FlyQuest. Team Liquid 1-1, coming off of a win against Shopify Rebellion. FlyQuest 2-0, coming off of a win against Immortals. Last time they played, TL would win. Only 3 of the 10 players are the same. They're all on Liquid. Eon went 8-2 and 7, 30% of damage. Shopify Rebellion and Immortals. Shopify 0-2, lost to TL. Immortals 0-2, lost to Fly. They've never played against each other. When Wild Turtle and Tactical crossed paths last year, Wild Turtle will go 6-1-8, 46% of damage in a win. Tactical 5-2-4, 29% of damage in the loss. Just trying to really get this video out as quickly as I can. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.